Greetings one and all, this is Lloyd Brown and welcome social media family to my vlog. Now, I've got some good news and not so good news to give you. The good news is that I am still going to be uploading tutorial videos, but in the hope of bringing it to a high-tech kind of value, I realized that my digital audio workstation is more valuable than a screen recorder because of like the 8 or 9 or 10 screen recording software that I downloaded and actually installed in that thing. None of them was really compatible with Cubase, the program that I'm basically working with. And I had to kind of weigh it up and ask myself, okay, what do I do? Do I endeavor to get a screen recording software that will work with Cubase, but with trial and error, risk jacking up the machine, which I almost did early this morning, around 2:30 this morning, where I tried to system restore the computer to an earlier point before I actually started installing the screen recording software in it. And the computer was telling me, not a ras, that's not happening. So I was getting a bit digi because the sound wouldn't play at all. The sound would not play. Like every time I installed the screen recording software, the sound would just basically freeze. And I remember that in my old computer, when that starts happening, then it's on a rocky road to ruin. But thankfully, I've got solid state drives in my things. But even still, it's still not compatible with my digital audio workstation, Cubase Pro 10. So I'm kind of juggling the balance and asking myself, okay, so what am I going to do? Am I going to risk crashing my machine entirely and don't get no music done in this climate with what's going on right about now? I can't even get takeout. I can't even get a takeaway. I can't even get pizza, much less anybody that's going to come and try to fix my computer so I can make more music, all for the sake of screen recording software. I don't think so. So here what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a low tech approach to the situation, you know, because we as Caribbean people, we adapt to our surroundings, right? We adapt to our lack of apparatus and tools and things like that, and try and make things better and try and make things a little bit more easier than it would be if I was to choose the former example. I know I'm waffling, but anyway. So right now I'm going to feature a tutorial based upon a rhythm that was sent to me by a colleague, and me in return saying, you know what, I've heard the rhythm and I like where it's kind of going, but we can up it up a little more, you know what I'm saying? So here is that tutorial. So without further ado, roll the tape. Greetings once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers and sisters, to my make-do low-tech screen capturing of my project on Cubase Pro 10. Moving on swiftly. So here's a track that I've been working on for the last couple of days, and what I want to concentrate on today is the drums, because the drums are the driving force of any track where drums are featured. Drums make you move, the bass makes you feel. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play you a loop of a drum pattern that I programmed. Right, and as you can hear, there is percussion in there as well, and I'm going to get to that in a bit, all right? But it also serves with the same principle as the drum software that I'm going to present to you right about now. There's many different ways of programming drums, but one of my go-to pieces of software is the Easy Drummer 2 from Riddim Track. I love Riddim Track's products in terms of music production, and there's so many things you can do with Easy Drummer. I'm not even touching the surface with Superior Drummer 3. That's a whole nother level and a whole nother series to get into. But with Easy Drummer, it's like an entry level drum programming software, but there's more to it than meets the eye. Don't let the easy drummer fool you, because there's so many things you can actually do with it. So let me just solo this and go into the instrument. So here we have a visual representation of what the drums look like. For me, it just gives me the feeling that I'm actually sitting down in front of the drum kit and playing the drums myself, even though I'm not a proficient drummer. You know what I mean? The programming of the drums, it belies a deep sense of creativity once you get into the nuts and bolts of the thing. So let me just play you the kit as it sounds. Okay, pretty standard fare, but the sounds are really good. The sounds are really, really good. There's no two ways about it. Let me just get rid of this thing here before we go any further. All right, so all of these sounds are mostly stock, all right? But they are open for manipulation as well as straightforward playing. Now for me, what I tend to shy away from is actually just using the stock sounds and programming my drums, because if you've got a piece of kit like this with like 50 levels of velocity and the option to change the sound, alter the sound, why would you want to basically just play tick tick cuck, tick 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 cuck? In some cases it may work, but music production has gone deep over the last few years, and you know, the key to awesome sounding drums are not necessarily made by people who are proficient at drumming, you know? So working on the creation of another sound within a drum kit is basically so important for me, and that's a part of the creating process that I really, really enjoy. So let's go into the floor tom, which is basically featured in the track. And as you can see, there are 4, 8, 12 floor toms to choose from. And I've chosen the 8x12 Yamaha Stage Custom Damper. With each kit, there's a different variation of the overall sound of the kit itself. So let me just go into here, go down to Reggae. It says dampened spring just down there, just below the screen, okay? If I go any higher, go into another drum kit, it shows you all of the different variation of sound on the said drum kit that are different from each other, you know? And that's just down to the manipulation of the sounds itself, okay? So you got all those, and you can use different drum kits or different drums of drum kits and actually implement it into this reggae drum kit as well. It's really, really versatile in that way. But going back to the floor tom, right? So what I've done, I've actually brought the pitch and the volume down. There's 50 levels of velocity from the left here. You can test. You can just about hear that within earshot. But as I move to the right, the velocity gets louder and louder. And each one of those sounds has been recorded in order for a drum loop to sound more humanized, because if you just play, it's the same sound. But if you play it sounds a little bit more humanized, because there's weight being lifted off the drumstick as it hits the drum. So that's basically the reason why I like Easy Drummer so much. How I manipulated the sound was actually turned it down and turned the pitch down, because originally they were all up in the middle like so, and it sounded like, see, very loud indeed. So I turn it down and turn the pitch down to a quarter to the left, and it sounds like that. And that's the sound that I basically wanted. So if you apply that principle to every drum and every instrument that is in Easy Drummer 2 and also Easy Drummer Latin Percussion, Okay, it's the same principle. Okay, if I go to the congas, okay, so if I go into this conga here, it's got the same user interface. So here are the congas I can choose. Wow, there's a lot. And there's the velocity levels. It's all there. Tune Track don't play. They don't play when it comes to sampling drums. You know what I mean? They do it proper so that you can have many, many sounds to choose from in your compositions. So why have this when you're just going to just do tick, tick, cup, tick, 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 cup? There's so much under the bonnet of this thing. Let's go back to Easy Drummer. And another aspect of it that I wanted to show you was the articulation of each particular part of a drum kit. So let's go into the crash, all right? So in the crash, you've got the drop down menu. So you've got the velocity, you've got the kits. Once you click on that, it will give you the option to save user kits by importing other drums from other kits. So you can make a potpourri of a drum kit using different drums from different drum kits, just to harness your sound as such, you know? So you got that option there. And also the details of that particular symbol are here. So you got the articulations where there's 4 different types of hit. You got the bow hit, you got the bell, which is basically the middle, which sounds like this. You got the edge, which sounds like this. And you got the mute hit, which sounds like this. Okay, so there's 4 different types of hits on that. Okay, so the possibilities are endless. The permutations are endless as to how you want to hit that one crash cymbal in a track. And the principles apply in the same way with the Latin percussion software here. Exactly the same thing, the same principles basically apply. And it's got its own browser section where you can check out different grooves, different stock grooves, which are basically there. And here's one I like, is the Marvin Funk Straight, which is paying homage to Marvin Gaye, of course, right? So if I just pick a 2 conga groove there, and with each groove that's in here, there's different variations of that groove. So with groove number 1, there's 24 variations of that one groove. Amazing. And not only that, you can take each variation and tailor it to how you want it to basically sound. If you want it to play 4 beats on the high conga instead of the 2 beats on the high conga with the variation that it's got on there, you can add them in the drum editing tool. Beautiful, beautiful. Just the drums alone, I can literally spend hours and hours and hours and hours just fine tuning a drum groove before I even go any further. All right, let's just play variations of this 2 conga groove from the Marvin Funk Straight folder. And the reason why it sounds so fast is because it's following the tempo of the project, and the project is 130 BPM, all right? So if I want to play clever and half that to 65 BPMs, I'll just basically just click it to half tempo and it will play like so. Okay, so just imagine that going on a stepper's tune, a rocker's tune, and then you can take that and add different nuances of the congas in that MIDI track right there. You can take the MIDI track, put it in here and edit it that way. You can take the MIDI, the same MIDI track, the MIDI file, put it there, or let me just raise it up a little bit. Let me just scroll down just to show you that it's there. All right, I'll do it again. Take the file, move it across there, add it there, and there you have it. So easy to learn and relatively easy to program. That's why they call it Easy Drummer. So let's just undo all of that. Okay, now moving away from that, as you can see, the files of the drum section are audio files. Now, what I simply did was to actually solo each drum within the drum kit and rendered it to an audio file. And I don't know how it works for other people's digital audio workstations, but with Cubase, they've made it so freaking easy. So I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. Okay, so with Easy Drummer, let's go into Easy Drummer right now. So on the 4th tab, you've got the mixer. So I'll click on the mixer and it's got all of the tracks here featuring the respective instruments. Okay, and what I did was, say for example, I just wanted the kick to render. I just press solo. Once I'm satisfied with the sound, I'll play the sound like this. Okay, that's all you're hearing. Right, so once I've done that, I'll come out of there, highlight the same track, keep it highlighted, and go into edit and click on render in place, and it's on settings that I've already calibrated for my own particular use. So the settings are that I'm rendering the track dry with no effects. So I'm going to click it here, and you can, well, I'm going to bring it over to the screen now. You can see that it's rendering now, and what that is going to do is going to render an audio track of the MIDI track that played the kick drum. And the reason why it is best to do it that way is that I can manipulate the tracks even further by putting different inserts, different effects on there, and not limit myself to what Easy Drummer's effects can give me. Although the effects are good, but in order for me to maintain my sound, I want to be in control of what I do with the instruments. And if I scroll down here, you can see that the MIDI file is here, and that's copied it to an audio file there. So if I just play that, what you're gonna get is just the kick drum. I'll solo that just to make sure, and there you have it. And there you go. And that's the principle of creating audio stems on the spot without having to go into a whole different rendering menu, putting the locators from one end to the other, titling it, and then doing it that way. This has made it much quicker. And not only does it render from MIDI to audio, Cubase Pro 10 can render from audio to MIDI, right? That's how quick this thing can work. And it just makes your workflow a whole lot easier, So if you spend more time being creative and articulating stuff and manipulating stuff, Cubase will kind of counterbalance that by making the workflow more efficient for you, instead of just kind of selling yourself short and just doing the stock programming by just cutting and pasting and cutting and pasting and cutting and pasting. It's too good a tool to be doing that with it. That's my thing anyway. So let me just undo that. So I've applied the same principle to all of the other MIDI soloed files. This is what I have. These are all the audio files, and I can save the project, and I can save the audio files, and I can back them up to a hard drive and then bring them in a fresh project for a remix or an extended mix or what have you, or even a collaboration for another artist or musician to basically play it on. And that's the beauty of it. But like I said, I'm only going to concentrate on the drums for now. And just to give you a reminder as to what the drums sounded like, they sounded like this. And there you have it, how I took one rhythm that was sent and just expanded it into a totally different rhythm altogether. So it's with that, I'm going to bid you guys adieu for now. As always, you've done know the cool people. Please abstain from foolishness, even your own, even my own foolishness. If I'm displaying foolishness, abstain from that too. So it's with that, I'm out of here. I'm gone. Laters.
Abstain from foolishness.